Hey, what's going on? You know who it is, you know what it is. Alright, peep game. Alright, man, I saw an interview last week with former Detroit Lions receiver Calvin Johnson. And Calvin Johnson pretty much did an in-depth interview on what happened with him, his career with the Lions, and why he unexpectedly retired. Well, you know, a lot of people was pissed off at Calvin Johnson for retiring because they feel, once again, here you have Barry Sanders, the wide receiver version of Barry Sanders. You know, Calvin Johnson just said, you know what, I'm done. And then he sort of explained why he quit or why he retired. He felt like he didn't have any chance of winning the Super Bowl in Detroit, even though he was playing with a pretty solid quarterback in Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford is a pretty damn good quarterback, but he felt he couldn't win with, you know, the players he was playing with in Detroit. So he just decided to, you know, call it a day. Now, he also said in an interview that he thought about coming back a couple of times, but he said if he was to come back, he's still the property. You know, I want to make sure y'all hear this very closely. He said he is still the property of the Detroit Lions, which means if he came out of retirement, he would have to play for the Detroit Lions. So he said that's why he isn't coming back. So basically, you just have a situation where a guy just didn't feel like he could win and he left. Now, I'm sure the Detroit Lions fans didn't like how he went about, like, retiring. And Calvin Johnson was a pretty damn good receiver, too. I wish the Raiders would have took him number one in that draft instead of taking Jamarcus Russell, but, you know, hey, that was the Raiders' mistake. But Calvin Johnson, he retired at the age of 30, and, you know, he's still supposed to be in pretty good shape. You know, man, he was like, what, 6'5"? Man, 6'5", could run, could catch. I mean, he's only about 32 now. I mean, I think he should consider, you know, coming back, but at the end of the day, it's not my decision. But I thought it was very interesting. It was sort of like he was like the wide receiver version of Barry Sanders. That, you know, Barry Sanders, keep in mind, he felt like that Detroit team wasn't going anywhere. He felt like he had no chance of ever winning the Super Bowl. He asked to be traded, and when he was not traded, he pretty much said, okay, well, you know what, I quit. And I'm going to retire, and that's pretty much what he did. And keep in mind, Barry Sanders was like maybe 1,000 and some change yards of breaking Walter Payton's all-time rushing record. Now, there was a lot of people that speculated that Barry Sanders also retired because he didn't want to break that record and he felt bad about it. And, you know, there's always going to be this argument between, you know, the Dallas Cowboy fans and the Detroit Lions fans, because the Detroit Lions fans are like, shit, to Emmitt Smith, hey, they Barry Sanders for your record, because Barry Sanders was going to break it before you. So there's always going to be a little thing between, you know, the Detroit Lions fans and Dallas Cowboy fans, because they felt like that record was Barry's to take. And to break it, Barry Sanders just was like, fuck it. I mean, Barry Sanders would have broke it the very next year. But he said no. He said to hell with this football shit. And he pretty much got up out of there. So, yeah, man, it was a good interview with Calvin Johnson. Calvin Johnson has considered coming back, but he doesn't want to play for the Lions. So probably what would happen is the Lions would have to say, you know what, if you come back, we'll agree to trade you. So that's probably the only way Calvin Johnson will come back. But who knows? You know, he might make an appearance once again. But anyway, let me know what y'all think, man. I'm out.